Hello everyone. In my previous lecture, I started and discussed literary history of medieval ages. So that was part first, and today we will discuss part 2 of literary history of medieval period. Let's begin and learn in detail. Literary history. So religious faith was a vital element of medieval English life and literature. If you want to study medieval literature, so you can find morality plays, mystery plays, and religious perform a major role in these plays and literature. So one of the most distinctive product of the age is the long poem known as Piers and Plowmen. So a dream version that expresses Christianity's spiritual mysteries. So religious devotion is also the key concern of the book of Margaret Camp. So an autobiography in which Camp focuses on her spiritual growth. Now, Paston family. In contrast, for more worldly attitudes are expressed in the surviving correspondence of the Paston family. These remarkable letters written from about 1420 till 1500 and discovered centuries later by one of the Paston's descendants provided fascinating glimpses, landmark innovation in 15th century Europe of the life later medieval times. You can see here Paston family, one of the members who discovered these later on. Now here you can see the images of the printing press, which was the invention of the later medieval period. So a person is reading a newspaper and another person is looking at the newspaper with surprise. So the printing press had a major and a significant role in the development of the literary history of the later medieval period. For example, they're especially popular in the Middle Ages were romances. In the Middle Ages, people would prefer to listen to romances and the tales of chivalric deeds, their heroic deeds. And these knights were the member of the court of King Arthur. Similarly, the people would prefer and they would listen to the Beowulf, which existed from the last so many centuries. Now, Geoffrey of Monmouth. Thus, about 1135, the monk Geoffrey of Monmouth produced a Latin history based on the old Elves legend. So, Geoffrey's book caught the fancy of French, German, and English writers, who soon produced their own version of the legends, updating them to reflect the current notion of chivalry. Now here you can see Sir Gawain Green Knight. In about 1375, an anonymous English poet produced Sir Gawain's and Green Knight. Now, recounting the marvelous adventure of the knight of King of Arthur's court, right? So he was one of the knight of the Arthur court. We're talking about Sir Gawain. Now, a century later, in Le Morte d'Arthur, Sir Thomas Morley retold a number of the French Arthurian tales in the Middle English. Medieval England. How medieval England looks like. In medieval England, religion wasn't just a belief, it was the lens through which people understood everything: life, death, society, even dreams. So, religion was a dominant element in the Middle Ages. And nothing was outside from religion. If you want to interpret life, you would interpret life through the lens of religion. death through the lens of religion, society through the lens of religion, and even dreams through the lens of religion. So Catholic Church was a very dominant power, right, throughout the Europe in the from the you can say 449 till the end of Middle Ages for about 1,000 years. But alongside this intense religious devotion, we also see the rise of worldly concern, romantic tales, and eventually the printing press, which would change everything. Lot of people would start to read and write now in later time, and so this would give opportunity to a lot of printed copies of the books which were not available before the invention of the printing press. So it was like a revolution, because before the printing press, people had to copy one book by writing. It was very difficult. Now there was printing press, so people would copy them. Now example, we can see here there appears Plowman's a dream like no other. Now imagine lying down in a field and falling asleep and dreaming of a massive spiritual quest full of strange characters, symbolic place, and deep question like what does it mean to live a good life? So that is exactly what happens in Piers Plowman's, a poem by William Langland. Now, it's kind of like a medieval inception. Fine. But instead of exploring the subconscious, it dives deep the Christianity, morality, and truth through allegories, figures like truth, reason, and Lady Holy Church. So the dreamer searches for spiritual meaning. Okay? Now, example 2, the Book of Margery Kim. So, a medieval memoir. If you think modern spiritual influencers invented oversharing made Margery Kim, so in her autobiography considered the first in English. She documented her intense religious version, her pilgrimages, and even her tears. She cried a lot. So she is basically the medieval equivalent of deeply religious travel vlogger. Now, chronicling her inner and outer journey, except instead of selfies, she had scribes write everything down. Now, example 3, the Paston's Letters real life medieval drama. Not for a big contrast, the Paston's Letters are like the medieval version of family group chat, only handwritten on parchments and filled with juicy detail. Right? Now, between 1420 and 1500, the Paston family wrote hundreds of letters discussing land dispute and marriages, court gossip, money problems, basically daily life in a turbulent world. So these letters are super valuable because they show that while many people were obsessed with salvations, others were just trying to get through money. It will be not Monday, money. Example 4, chivalric romances, knights, quest, and magic. If the Bible was the medieval spiritual manual, then Arthurian's romances was the blockbuster entertainment of the time. Think of these stories as the Marvel cinematics universe of the Middle Ages with King Arthur as the main hero and the knights like Sir Gawain and uh, Lancelot as his squad. So in the next lecture we will discuss development of English language in Middle Ages, and this would be part 2. Thank you so much. Please do provide your valuable comment in comment section.